Hey everybody, Dr. Nelson here. This is a video lesson about something called scale drawings and maps. Alright, so to get us started, first of all, there is a new term you need to be aware of. Alright, it's called constant speed. Alright, so when the speed of an object remains the same, and I'm going to underline the words remains the same, okay? That's what constant speed refers to. All right, so imagine a car, okay, driving, say, exactly 70 miles per hour for a long period of time, okay? Not above 70, not below 70, right? Some cars have something called cruise control, where basically you push a button, right, and the car keeps going at the same rate of speed for a long period of time, okay? That's what constant speed is. So again, the speed does not change. So we're going to use a formula right here called distance equals time times the constant rate of speed, which is labeled r. All right, that's the variable for constant speed. All right, so what we're saying is the constant speed is 30 miles per hour. I'm sure you've all seen signs on the side of the road that show basically the maximum amount of speed allowed on a road, right? So what we do is we plug in 30, okay, for the r, right? So that's the value of r. And then we plug in the value for time for t, okay? So if we go 1 hour, so 1 hour times 30, that means the distance would be 30 miles, okay? If we plug in 2 for t, right? 2 times 30, right, would give us 60. If we plug in 3 for t, so that means 3 hours, going 30 miles per hour, right? That means we go 90 miles, all right? And finally, if we go 0.5, right? Now 0.5 would be if 1 equals 1 hour, right? That means 0.5 would represent 30 minutes. So if I plug in 0.5 for t, okay, if I do 30 times 0.5, that means we'd go 15 miles during that time period. All right. So let's take a look at this problem. It says 2 football stadiums are 300 miles apart. All right. So imagine you have 2 amazing football stadiums 300 miles apart. Okay. It takes a train 5 hours to travel between the 2 stadiums. Okay. A bus travels between the 2 stadiums at a constant rate of 58 miles per hour. Right. So that means for this one, we know the rate is going to be 58. It says, which is traveling faster, the train or the bus? All right. So to solve this problem, we need to take a look at this train. All right. And again, we're going to use the formula d for distance, right, equals t times r. All right. And now what we're going to do is we're going to plug in what we know. So we know the distance is 300, right? So I'm going to type in 300 for d equals, and we know our time is 5. So I'm going to put a 5 in for the t. So the question is 300 equals 5 times what, right? So if we divide both sides by 5, 300 divided by 5 gives us 60. So that means the rate for the train is 60. All right, so now we know the rate for the bus. We know the rate for the train. All right, so which is traveling faster? So the answer would be the train. All right, let's do one more problem together. All right, so this one involves a map. All right, so it says a helicopter traveled from the scene of the accident to the hospital in 30 minutes. Okay. Determine the speed of the helicopter. All right, so again, here's the accident, right? Here's the hospital. Okay, we know that it traveled across this line in 30 minutes. All right, so again, we're going to use the formula again. D equals T times R. All right, but what we need to figure out now, right, is basically the distance from this point to this point. All right. And what we know is that we have a little scale here. So this distance from here to here is 5 miles. So notice that from here, this point to this point is 1, 2, 3 lines on the grid. All right. So every 3 lines we know is going to be 5 miles. So let's count this. Here we go. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3. That's going to be 1 group of 5. And 1, 2, 3. That's another group of 5. And then 1, 2, 3. Another group of 5. And then 1, 2, 3. That's our 4th. 1, 2, 3. That's our 5th. 1, 2, 3. That's our 6th. 1, 2, 3. That's our 7th. And then finally, 1, 2, 3. That's our 8th, right? So if I do 8 times 5, we know that that total distance is 40, right? All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to plug in what we know into our formula. Okay, so we know our distance is 40. And that's going to equal our time times the rate, right? Now we're trying to figure out the rate, the speed. Right? Remember, rate means speed, right? Now we know our time is 30 minutes. Now remember, 1 hour equals 1, right? So 30 minutes is half of that. So we're going to say 1/2 times r. All right? So the question is 40 equals 1/2, right, times what? Okay? And I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 to get r. So when I do that, r equals 80. So that means the rate would be 80 miles per hour.